Why, hello everybody, so welcome to another Level Up Does. Today we're talking about the theme and the reason why I painted these four Kaosball ringers the way I did. I'm slowly painting out someone's Kaosball set, so I've been releasing a lot of these as in the past. And so basically today's theme is the wrestling group called the MegaPowers, which was really popular when Hulk Hogan joined with the Macho and Randy Savage. And so basically when I got these miniatures, and of course they had the Hulk Hogan miniature which they called the Patriot, and also the Nacho Libre character which is called Macho Libre, it was just a fit that's it. I need to paint with a theme, so basically I went with a wrestling group which I called the MegaPowers. So let's get right into it. So first one is of course we're going to talk about Hulk Hogan himself. So basically I went with the standard 90s Hulk Hogan at his peak. And as I remember him, as my favorite time in wrestling, I would say, is the old school super bright red bandana, the super bright yellow, and the contrast with that. And the strange thing is about him was when I painted him, I was actually going to go for a more normal flesh tone for his skin. But I used a reference picture, and when I painted on his skin on the brown base coat, actually I found that the brown actually fit with his really tan look back then. So I decided instead of painting it with a flesh tone to just go with the bronze look and just highlight up from there. And so basically I finished with this, the very standard bright red, bright yellow, and the bronze god kind of tan skin color look. So they say that's Hulk Hogan. And on top of that, won't tell the full story because I probably would do in some other video. I played Arkham Horror recently, and it was our first truly legitimate win, and I used Hulk Hogan in there. You know, the stats was from a normal character, but I used the Hulk Hogan miniature, and we won, and we beat Cthulhu. No kidding, the Elder God Cthulhu in Arkham Horror with 4 mini expansions. So Hulkamania ran wild on Cthulhu, and we totally did it legitimately. So Hulkamania always works, even against the Elder Gods. So, next one we're going to talk about is Nacho Libre. Yes, this is the character from Jack Black's movie Nacho Libre, and basically the miniature came as such. And the thing of course, I used another reference picture from the posters and everything, and that's how I base it on the same color scheme, which is the super light blue, the very deep reds, and that's how I did it. The thing about the miniature you'll note is that this spandex here actually did not come with a line to guide you between the light blue and the red trunks here. So basically I had to be careful but then paint that in that way. But I wanted to stay true as much as possible to the Nacho Libre character. And that's why also I decided to paint his skin in a very, very pale color, because you look at the Jack Black character, he's not some bronze god, like Hulk Hogan and tan and all that. He's basically a very pale, chubby person. Now this miniature is more muscular than that, but I wanted to keep that look. That's why I painted a very pale, pasty color skin and gave him that crazed eyeball look. So basically that's Nacho Libre. Alright, there you go. Okay, and the next is we're going to talk about is Mad Max. Now, this character was called T-Bone in the miniatures, in the Kaosball miniature line, and to me when I see it I just think Mad Max, so I used the reference for that, but with some differences, because when I look at this also I think of the anime called Fist of the North Star. And if you remember the anime of that, the lead character had this brother called Jagi, and he always wore this kind of biker mask, and then again, as you remember, Fist of North Star was kind of based also on the whole Mad Max kind of thing, so it all fits. Now I started painting the whole thing in the Mad Max poster colors, but I noticed the whole thing was really all black. You look at the Mad Max posters, he's head to toe black, 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 black. So I decided, and other than the helmet, which this part here is all metal. So at first I just broke it up with, again, I used this sub theme, which is Jagi, just to break out the miniature. I painted this red, and then I was about to paint this flesh color, and when I did the base coat of brown, I started to notice that, if you can see that, there's actually a line running across, and it's not a mold line, it's actually a sock. It's supposed to be a sock. And so instead of painting it flesh color, I decided that although it will break up this with the poster of Mad Max, but it, I just thought it looked nicer. So it's a painted red because it works with the whole contrast of the miniature, and of course give it the skin color a more Caucasian feel, a bronze look because it's in the desert and he's a sportsman and all. So just basically that's it. I just thought that it would be a good idea to break up with the reds and all, because even when I painted him these paddings and all that grayish color, to give him the Mad Max feel, I just felt everything just too much of the same tone basically. So decided to go with that, and I think it's a good idea. The red and all that, the brown all contrast very well, but you can still focus on the character itself, which is over here. It doesn't take too much away, it just breaks the model just enough, I feel, and you still concentrate on his face and his expressions and everything. So that's Mad Max. And the last one in the MegaPowers is of course Dragon, which also amazing I call Dragon. And the reason why is because when I was painting, I'm listening right now to some CDs and everything that, Marshall Cavendish, Storyteller, if you remember that, way back in the 80s, they would have these tapes you can put in tape recorders, and you would actually have a book, more magazine really, you read the story along, they're all kid stories. And recently, if you look at the stuff I've been painting, it's always, all the dragons are always different colors, like red and brown and all those colors. So I was listening to all these old stories, and dragons were always greens and white teeth. I mean, bone colored teeth and all. So I don't know. I just got inspired from those kid stories to paint a dragon as that old school color. So I just went with that. As you can see, just a all green dragon with the yellow for the contrast. Because yellow is a natural highlight up for basically green, and basically that's how I did it. And now the thing about it is, the spandex I painted brown because I could have painted another shade of green, but it would look weird. What if it looked like it's part of his skin, and the shape of it is obviously a spandex. So to make sure I don't take away from the color of the skin, which I wanted to focus on with the green, I painted it brown. So it's just that it's subtle enough to break up the miniature, but it doesn't take away from the focus which I want, which is the green. So there you go. And basically gave him that old school color of yellow eyes with a black pupil or slit for an eye, and yep, old school bone color teeth, horns and all, yellow eyes and green skin. So that's it. Basically that is the MegaPowers. I hope you enjoy, and may Hulkamania run with you, and eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and cheers.